Welcome to the ITSportsNet tutorial for Women's Hockey Association registrars. This tutorial will show you how to use the online intent to registrar process. This tutorial will take you through the online ITR process and is intended for OWHA Association registrars. It assumes that you already have login credentials and are already familiar with ITSportsNet version 2.1. The online ITR process follows a similar process to the one you would have used in previous years. You first fill out an ITR form for each team. Then you gather signatures and send to the OWHA with the team payment and provincial bond checks. Finally, once the OWHA has received all of the properly completed forms and checks, they will approve your team. With the online ITR process, you will now be able to fill out each team's ITR online and submit it for approval. You will still need to print a copy and get it signed by the team contact and team voter, and submit a paper copy along with your team payment check and your provincial bond check. Once OWHA has received your signed ITR forms and checks and has reviewed your online ITR, they will approve your team and you will be notified by email, and you can start creating your roster. This new online process should be quicker and easier for everyone to manage. Crystal will now demonstrate for you.
Thank you, Mike. I will now go through a demonstration of the OWHA ITR process. Once you have logged into ITSportsNet version 2.1, make sure you have the current season selected. And then select the Setup menu. Under the Setup process list, you will see the Submit ITR process. This process is used for cloning ITRs from previous seasons, filling out the ITR, submitting the ITR for approval, and lastly printing out the ITR form to sign and mail in with your checks. In the main Submit ITR screen, you are able to list and edit your current season's ITRs. You can add new ITRs and clone ITRs from the previous season. Cloning the previous season's ITR will save you from having to recreate all of your teams. First, choose the Clone ITR button and choose last season to clone your teams from. Click the Show Teams button. If you are going to clone all of your teams, use the Select All button, or individual select the teams you want to clone. After you have your team selected, click Clone Selected ITRs. This will create new ITR for the current season. Now you are ready to start filling out your online ITR forms. Back in the List ITR form, you will be able to review the status of all of your ITRs. Select ITR to fill out and add in new ITRs. In the Edit ITR form screen, you are able to change the division category of the team, add the team contact and team voter. You can print the ITR form to mail to OWHA and submit your ITR for approval. It is important to remember that you need to both submit your ITR electronically and to email the signed and printed ITR form with your team checks. Here is where you are able to select a different division and category for the ITR and buttons for both the team contact and team voter. An ITR must have both the team contact and team voter filled in before they can submit it for approval. If you are familiar with registering players and coaches with ITSportsNet, it is the same process to add team contacts and team voters. You first search for the team contact. If you find them, you can select them. If you do not find them, then you can add in a new member and add them as the team contact. Once you have filled in the team and voter contact, you will see that you can now submit your ITR for approval and print ITR form to mail with your checks. Once the OWHA has reviewed your ITR submission and has received your signed form and checks, they will approve your team. This will create your team for the current season. Once your team is approved and created, you will receive an email letting you know, and you will immediately be able to start building your rosters.
This has been an ITSportsNet online tutorial.